Hello everyone. In this video I wanted to talk about what a perfect short setup looks like and how you can trade it with confidence. So I'm going to show you a perfect example happened the other day. It was CBay. So CBay, and this is why understanding the news is important to me, at least, when trading anything. There's a lot of people that just look at the chart and they play it strictly off the chart, but I can give you two examples. CBay and SPPI are two perfect examples of why you need to understand the news. You can't just play the chart, and why knowing the news and why understanding the news a little better will help you be more successful. And the reason those two are perfect examples is because SPPI had very similar news to what I'm going to show you with CBay. The difference is SPPI was actually presenting theirs at a conference where they were invited to speak about their products versus CBay, who just put out a PR. Huge difference. And knowing that, a lot of people got ran over because they were playing it as a pop and fade, and instead the stock continued to move higher and higher and higher and ended up causing a squeeze. So the reason I wanted to show you CBay is you can see here on the 11th, it actually had a nice ramp up out of the gate and then just a sell off, held its gains into the close, and then had more another kind of consolidation day on Thursday. And then on Friday came out with a nice HC Wainwright price target increase. So let me show you the news on CBay. So CBay, and this is briefing for all of you that don't know, or you have some sort of news conference, or news software. But you can see it kind of shows some of all the plays and why I like to look at it. So let's go ahead and look at Wednesday's news. Oh, I'm sorry, this is back in March. Went too far. So here we go. CBay Therapeutics up 16%, positive phase 2 on, let's see if it gives us a little more. Second interim analysis of its phase 2 study. So just to give you a little insight into biotechs and what this means is, this is basically, they are in the middle of the study, or they're still in the study. It's not even an endpoint. It's not a confirmed trial as far as meeting its endpoints. This is kind of like saying, you just ordered a meal, you're halfway through it, the cook comes out and tells you, hey, by the way, everything's looking good. I think we're going to meet the time frame, and we're going to be able to cook this steak just like you want it. And then they go back in. So if you don't understand the news, you're going to say, hey, wow, they're presenting positive phase 2 news. Great, the stock's going to take off. Well, yes and no. See, biotechs put out a lot of PR because they want to keep their investors interested. They want to show them, hey, we're doing things right. We're having positive results. And, please continue to buy our stock. Don't sell it. But if you look at CBay, let's check out some more information here on FinViz. So CBay, here's a picture of kind of a long-term chart. It's actually a good-looking chart. It's had a good, nice, gradual grind up. It's got a good size float, 55 million roughly. It's showing about 60% ownership. Typically the biotech stocks that have 80, 90, 95% ownership are going to be the better biotechs to invest in, because those are going to have typically bigger moves, as you have obviously more institutional money backing them. Doesn't mean this can't, but this one is obviously not as coveted as, say, Blue or Celg or some of these other biotechs out there. So with that being said, the reason I wanted to talk about this one, and if you look at the charts, let's look at the 1 minute real quick. And let's talk about it. So this is what a perfect short opportunity looks like. So obviously you see it moving up pre-market. It had a nice little gap up. It's getting some volume in pre-market. That's a good sign. That's a good indicator that it's going to ramp right out of the gate, especially when you have this kind of volume. And if you're looking at the long-term chart, you can see it's, I wouldn't say it's a tremendously thin traded stock, probably 1 million shares a day or so, but you can see that here was the huge volume day, and you can see it had a couple of big volumes in the past, and this is kind of what I'm going to use as resistance or support. Also had some other big spike days in here, but they're only a couple million shares. So, it could very well go up and test this 15 resistance. This is what I'm going to use as resistance, but it could also break through because the volume is kind of lower on these days compared to say these 3 days over here, or even the volume it received that day. So volume can be a huge indicator on whether resistance is going to hold or if it's just going to be kind of a consolidation area. And because the volume was lower up here, it could have been a consolidation area. So you had to wait for the confirmation. And what do I mean by confirmation? So my perfect short setup is exactly what you're seeing here. It's you see a ramp out of the gate, pull back into resistance, consolidate, retest, come back down, consolidate a little more, but not wash out, spike up, retest that high, and then fail, get stuffed, rejected, whatever you want to call it, kind of consolidate. And this is kind of where the psychology comes into play. So right in this moment, and this is on a 2-minute chart, right in this area you have long saying, okay, what is kind of the psychology here of a long? So they're thinking, okay, this thing is not going to break out. I should probably lock in some profits, if not all of them. And then what happens? So when you have this nice double top and it cannot break out, look what happens. You have panic. You have selling, profit taking, whatever you want to call it. You have a washout. And when a stock ramps, test resistance, fails, test resistance again and fails, and then followed by the washout. The washout is the key. And you can see the volume in the washout. That's the key to me that this thing is done. Longs are definitely taking profits. Your chances of this thing going back up and testing are a lot less than say had this thing just came back down and kind of hug around VWAP and then slowly kind of grinded back up into the afternoon, then ramped and retested 15. But once it has this washout, this bounce area, this is where you want to start getting short. And you want to wait till you get anywhere from like 30 to 50% bounce on the washout. And that's where you can start taking a starter short, or you could even take, I took these in size because I knew that this was, based on the pattern and the setup. I'm like, this is probably just going to fade off the rest of the day. Most of the longs from pre-market here are probably out. This was probably some people that were taking some profits either in pre-market or even, that had been long the stock for a while. And then you can see here, it just kind of consolidated and then just slowly faded off the rest of the day. And let's look at it on a 5-minute chart. And on a 5-minute chart, you can see it just looks perfect. Had the big ramp and then just a slow fader the rest of the day. And then I covered about 1320. I let it kind of retest here to see if it was going to go lower. It didn't, so I just covered into this candle here. So based on the news, the float, the chart, and then this double top washout, that is my perfect setup for a short with confidence. Something that you can take conviction with and something that's going to work majority of the time. So hope that helps, and let me know if you have any questions or comments.